Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're continuing to talk about our featured work of literature, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Okay, last time we kind of summarized this book for you. It's about Billy Lynn, basically. He's a soldier who fought in the Iraq War, and he came back to appear at the halftime show of a Dallas Cowboys football game. He was honored, but he was kind of disoriented. Today, we're actually going to be talking about the author himself, Ben Fountain.
Yeah, he didn't have an easy road to success, you could say, but he kept at it, and he eventually was able to collect some nice awards. So we can talk about that. Also about who inspired him to become a writer and an author whose works he really appreciated. It's interesting because the author he really liked, I don't. So we all have different opinions. It's kind of fun that way about this life we're in. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to read through the article, and then we'll talk about Ben Fountain.
Ben Fountain, the author of Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, hails from North Carolina, U.S. He became interested in writing in his teens. Fountain discovered the works of Ernest Hemingway and was moved by the power in Hemingway's words, hoping to craft his own stories one day. After receiving a law degree from Duke University, he practiced real estate law for a few years. However, he never let go of his dream of becoming a writer. In 1988, Fountain took a leap of faith and quit his lucrative job to become a full-time novelist. His success didn't come easily, as Fountain only sold a handful of stories here and there for the first 4 years of his writing career. To broaden his understanding of human experience, Fountain began making annual visits to Haiti. These trips gave him a new perspective on life, and he realized that he was fortunate compared with others who lived in grinding poverty. From 1995 to 1999, he experienced a dry spell and didn't publish anything at all. He used this time to study other authors' works and take care of his children while his wife sustained the family. Finally, in 2005, he sold a collection of short stories to a major publisher. The collection was well received and won him several prominent awards. It took Fountain another 7 years to publish Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Like his previous work, it received critical acclaim. The novel was later adapted for the screen. The movie was directed by Oscar-winning director Ang Lee. Although it took many years of hard work without recognition of his writing skills, Fountain has established himself as one of the most celebrated writers of his generation.
Okay, let's talk about Ben Fountain. It's an interesting last name. I don't know anyone named Fountain, but now we do. Ben Fountain. He's the author of the book we've been talking about, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. It says here that he hails from North Carolina in the United States. If you hail from a certain place, that's where you're from. So that's where you were born, perhaps grew up. North Carolina is a beautiful state on the east coast of the United States. It's more southern in its location, and it's beautiful. If you get a chance to go there, I recommend it. He became interested in writing in his teens. You know, authors all have different paths. Some start out young, always wanting to write. Some kids are already writing in first grade and they want to be a writer, you know. But his interest started happening in his teens. So maybe, 13, 14, 15, who knows?
Yeah, so indeed, that's where he's from. He hails from North Carolina. That's the way of saying that you're from there. So he's from North Carolina, maybe Raleigh, Durham, or something like that.
Yeah.
But he became interested in writing when he was a teenager, and Fountain discovered the works of Ernest Hemingway and was moved by the power in Hemingway's words. Hemingway has influenced a number of other writers, so I guess Fountain was influenced by Ernest Hemingway. who wrote The Old Man and the Sea, A Farewell to Arms, For Whom the Bell Tolls,
yeah.
Stuff like that. And, of course, I guess he has a powerful way of expressing things, although Hemingway is simple, okay? He doesn't really write in a complex way, say like William Faulkner does. But here, as he was reading Hemingway, Ben Fountain hoped to craft his own stories one day. Here we have the word craft. It's being used as a verb, which is a word that describes action. But here, craft means just to create or make something using certain amounts of skills. Okay, so craft your own story, craft your own film. I guess you could say that too.
Yeah, it takes a lot of artistic talent sometimes. We'll use that word craft. A lot of times if people are using their hands, you want to use craft. So he was really moved by Ernest Hemingway. Now, let's talk about Ben Fountain, his path. He received a law degree from Duke University. That's a great university, especially their law school at Duke is great. So he practiced real estate law for a few years. Real estate has to do with property. It could be just land that has nothing on it, or it could be land with a building on it too. So that's what he did when he first got out of college. Of course, law school is in addition to your bachelor's degree. So he went to university for 4 years and then law school for 3 years, and then he started working in real estate law.
Yeah, there are different kinds of lawyers out there, corporate lawyers and stuff like that. I guess there are lawyers for real estate, the buying and selling of property and things like that. So, yeah, you study pre-law as your undergraduate degree, and then you go for your law degree. And he did study this for a few years. He practiced it. Actually, I think he got his degree, and then he got a job as a lawyer in real estate. However, he never let go of his dream of becoming a writer. Let go of here is a phrase. That means to release something. It can mean to release something physically. Let go of me. Quit grabbing my arm. It hurts. Don't hold me anymore. But also in this case, let go of just means to give up. Okay. He was a lawyer. He was probably making tons of money and meeting very powerful people and things like that. And he probably bought himself a nice big house and an expensive car and
You're
stuff
just
like that.
making this stuff up.
Well, that's what lawyers do. I don't know very many lawyers who buy a Volkswagen Beetle or something like that. But in any case here, he still had that dream. Yeah, I like being a lawyer. The money's good and stuff like that. The prestige, the power. But, you know, being a writer is in my blood. That's what I really want to do. I just can't let go of that dream.
Oh, gosh. My dad's an attorney, and he didn't buy a Beetle or a VW Bug. But, you know, not every attorney's the same either. So he really did have the dream of writing. You know, a lot of people, they go into business, but they really want to be artists. I know a lot of people like that. That's life, though. But if you really want it and you go after it, a lot of people are successful. So if you have a dream, don't let go too early. Give it your best.
Or be realistic, too. A lot of people have those dreams and they don't make it.
Well, some people, you have to have the talent. You know, that's important.
We seem to hear only from people who actually make it. For every person who makes it as a writer, there are probably 1,000 who tried and are washing dishes in some restaurant down in Atlanta or something like that. But back in 1988, Fountain took a leap of faith and quit his lucrative job to become a full-time novelist. So in this sentence, we have the phrase, to take a leap of faith. That means you do something and you really don't know what it's going to result in.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen, okay? You just have to kind of close your eyes and jump and hope everything is okay. I have a feeling this leap of faith is kind of biblical or something. It's probably religious or something like that.
I don't think so. I haven't heard of it in the scriptures, at least. But yeah, you just kind of have to, you know, close your eyes and go. You jump. And you hope that on the way down, you'll grow wings. That's what we talk about. You need to grow wings so you can fly. So he took a leap of faith and quit his lucrative job. Lucrative means he's making a lot of money. If you have a lucrative career, you're doing something where you can make quite a bit of money. So he quit his job to become a full-time novelist. His wife must have been a little bit nervous, honey, are you sure you want to quit? But actually, if you want to become a successful writer, sometimes you need a lot of time. And being a lawyer, you don't have a lot of time after you come home from work. So I can see why he quit his full-time job. His success didn't come easily, though, as Fountain only sold a handful of stories here and there for the first 4 years of his writing career. A handful just means, maybe 4 or 5. Look at your hand. How many fingers do you have? How much can you hold in your hand? It's not a lot. So here and there just means once in a while, occasionally. So that would have been a little scary. For 4 years, he still didn't sell very much.
Yeah, probably just making enough money to buy some pao mian at the supermarket or something like that.
Maybe.
His wife probably wasn't too happy about that.
She was supporting the family during this time.
She did, but we don't know exactly how she took this. I guess she supported him, but I have a suspicion that they had lots of fights while this was going on.
No, she loved him and she supported him. Yeah.
Well, that's probably what it looks like on the surface. But in any case, that's just my opinion here. But
it's time to take a break, Tom.
No, I want to keep talking about this.
Before you talk everybody out of getting married.
We're going to actually take a break. That's right. So let's do it right now. Let's take a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back to continue our discussion. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
Hello， 大家好，欢迎收听 English Digest， 我是 Trevor。今天我们要一起阅读的是 Unit 13 文学单元的第2天课程 War and Honor Through the Eyes of a Soldier。文章的第一段提到比利·林恩的中场战事作者 Ben Fountain 来自美国的北卡罗来纳州。他从10几岁的时候就对写作有兴趣，但在大学的时候却是修读法律，并在毕业后从事不动产法律业务。然而他舍弃不了对写作的热情，最后辞去工作，成为全职的小说家。我们看到这一段的第2句 Fountain discovered the works of Ernest Hemingway and was moved by the power in Hemingway's words, hoping to craft his own stories one day. 方登发现了厄尼斯特·海明威的作品，并被海明威文字里的力量所感动，希望有一天可以精心编制自己的故事。本句的后半部分 hoping ... 是由对等子句变化来的分词构句。原来的2个句子是 Fountain discovered ... and he hoped to ... 这2句的主词都是 Fountain， 因此可以省略连接词 and， 只用逗号连接2句，然后将后半句的 he 省略。其后的主词 hoped 是主动语态，因此变成 VING hoping。如果省略主词那一句是被动语态，则 be 动词要一起省略，只留下 VPP。例如原来的2个句子是 The wounded dog lay on the floor and it was wrapped in a blanket。 这只受伤的狗躺在地板上，它被毯子包覆着。省略后半句的 and it was， 就变成分词构句 The wounded dog lay on the floor， wrapped in a blanket。 接着我们看到第一段最后一句的后半部分 Fountain only sold a handful of stories here and there for the first 4 years of his writing career。 方登在他写作生涯的前4年，在各地只卖了少数的故事。片语 a handful of 就是少数的意思， handful 做名词用有一把的意思，例如 a handful of coins 一把硬币。另外 handful 也可以用来指 someone, especially a child, who is handful and difficult to manage or control， 也就是指难以管理或控制的人，特别是指小孩。例如 Most of the time, the kid behaves himself, but he can be a bit of a handful sometimes。 这个小孩在大部分的时候都很守规矩，但有时候他会有点难以管控。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about Ben Fountain, the author of Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. We found out he was born and raised in North Carolina, which is on the East Coast in the United States. He became interested in writing when he was a teen. He really liked Ernest Hemingway, and he loved the way that Hemingway's words moved him. And he wanted to one day be that kind of writer who could craft his own stories to move people. He went on to finish college and then went to law school and got a law degree from Duke University, which has a great basketball team, by the way. And he practiced real estate law after he got out of law school. But even though he was practicing law, he never gave up his dream of becoming a writer. And in 1988, after trying to do both, writing in his free time and practicing law, he finally just took a leap of faith, which means you just kind of close your eyes and jump and hope that all will be well. And he quit his lucrative job where he was making a good living, you could say, to become a full-time novelist. But even then, his success didn't come quickly. It took 4 years of, selling 1 or 2 short stories. And then life kind of changed for him.
Indeed. So, yeah, he sold some stories here and there. But if you want to be a writer, of course, you can try to be creative and stuff like that. But you do need to have some kind of experience and knowledge to have something to write about.
To say. What are you going to say?
Basically, yeah. So to broaden his understanding of human experience, Fountain began making annual visits to Haiti. He thought, hey, Haiti, okay, that's a place that's always poor and people are always suffering there. So I'm going to go down there to try to understand human experience. How do those people put up with poverty and how did they deal with that really bad earthquake that happened there a few years ago? He began to make yearly visits to Haiti. Annual means yearly, so he started going there every year. Hopefully, he was helping out there too, not just going there to observe the people there to get some ideas for stories.
Maybe doing some charitable work.
Could be. And these trips to Haiti gave him a new perspective on life as he realized that he was fortunate compared with others who lived in grinding poverty. And a lot of this probably could use a lesson like this. Sometimes we complain, oh, my motorcycle's got a problem. Oh, my coworkers they're so annoying. Oh, it rains all the time here. My life is just so terrible. I just hate it. I'm so unhappy. Please, somebody help me. But here he went to Haiti and realized that people there really, really suffer there. I guess he was able to see what suffering really is. And so that gave him a new perspective on life. The word perspective just means your point of view, a different way of looking at things.
Right. So that was a good thing for him because sometimes we need to really learn to appreciate what we have and be grateful for our good fortune and our good lives. So these trips gave him that new perspective, and he realized that he was fortunate compared with others who he could see were living in grinding poverty. Poverty refers to really an extreme state of being poor. So you don't have anything. If you're living in poverty, we often use that phrase, to live in poverty. It means they really don't have anything. And sometimes they don't even have enough food to eat, which I can't even imagine because we throw away so much food, don't we?
Yeah.
Poverty, the situation or experience of being extremely poor. Grinding poverty, I think that's an interesting adjective they use there. Grinding. So if you grind something down, you turn it into almost powder, right? You just, and if it's, grinding poverty to me means so much pressure, you just feel defeated to the point you want to give up on life. So,
yeah, and it goes on for a long time, too. It seems like it's never going to end.
Right.
So, yeah, you always hear about Haiti being poor.
Oh, yeah.
That they've always been poor, and they're poor now, and they're always going to be poor in the future. So, yes, indeed, we always think of Haiti as a poor country, and these people are living in grinding poverty. And from 1995 to 1999, he experienced a dry spell and didn't publish anything at all. A dry spell, usually, if we talk about weather, means it just hasn't rained for a long time. And if you have a dry spell or a period of dry weather for too long, then it might turn into a drought. When there are really bad conditions, you might have to start rationing water and stuff like that. But in this particular case, though, it means that he really wasn't able to produce anything. Like, he wasn't raining, basically. Not literally, but he just couldn't think of any ideas for stories. I've got writer's block. I just can't produce anything. I don't know what to do.
But he used this time to study other authors' works and take care of his kids because his wife was out there supporting the family. I think I mentioned that earlier. I had read this, so I thought, oh, yeah, who's earning the living? Who's making the money to pay for all the bills? And it was his wife. And sometimes you do that in a partnership. You take turns, perhaps, trying to chase your dream. If you sustain the family, it just means you're the one who is doing something to continue to have that family existing so that they can go on for a period of time. So here we're actually talking about her making enough money to pay for the bills while he takes care of the kids at home. So finally, in 2005, he sold a collection of short stories to a major publisher. One of those big publishers that has lots of money to give authors. The collection was well received, which means the critics liked it, and it won him several prominent awards. Notice here, we're using a passive construction here. That collection won him several prominent awards. You could also say he won several prominent awards. So notice there, it's a little different the way the author is structuring the sentence. Prominent means quite famous, quite well known. A person can be prominent. Oh, he's a prominent doctor, or he's a prominent physician. So he took away some prominent awards.
Yeah, prominent just means something that sticks out, something that you can see easily. So you could be prominent in the business world, for example.
Or he has a prominent nose.
Yeah, I was going to say that exact example there. Lots of people have big pointy noses that are quite prominent. They stick out. You can't miss it. You can see it. Excuse me, is that your nose or did a bus just park on your face?
Oh, Tom, that's awful.
Oh, I heard that in a movie somewhere. But in any case, let's move on now to the next paragraph here. It says, it took Fountain another 7 years to publish Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. So it took him a while to think about this novel and do some research and stuff like that. And that, again, is our featured novel. And like his previous work, his previous stories and novels and stuff, it received critical acclaim. Acclaim just means recognition for something that you did really great. Recognition and lots of applause. Yay, good job.
Yeah.
They wrote him good reviews. He appeared on talk shows, stuff like that.
The novel, as we mentioned earlier, was later adapted for the screen. If you adapt something, you change its form so it fits something else. So obviously they can't say all the words in the novel in a movie that's 2 hours. So they have to, kind of change it a little bit, figure out what they want to include. The movie was directed by our own Taiwanese An Lee, or Ang Lee, as they say in America. He's Oscar-winning, as you know, for Brokeback Mountain, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Now, although it took many years of hard work without any recognition, nobody was even talking about him as a writer or recognizing his talent, he continued to work and push forward, I'm going to say. Push forward, not give up. Fountain has established himself as one of the most celebrated writers of his generation. If you establish yourself as somebody or something, it means you have done enough work to be recognized as something. So he is now recognized as one of the most celebrated authors or writers of his generation. So his generation are all the people that were born within, a 10-year period of time, I would say.
Something like that. So he's one of the most celebrated, the most famous writers of his generation. And maybe you would benefit from trying to read one of his books, especially our featured novel, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
文章的第二段提到， Fountain 在写作上曾经有过瓶颈，这段期间都是靠他的妻子在维持家庭生计。到了西元2005年，他的一本短篇故事集大受好评，也让他获得许多奖项。我们看到第二段的最后一句 The collection was well received and won him several prominent awards. 这本故事集受到好评，并为他赢得几个重要奖项。本句有一个复合形容词 well received， 这个形容词是由副词加上过去分词所组成的。由动词所组成的复合形容词中，动词通常放在第二个位置。如果是主动的话，就变成 VING， 是被动的话就变成 VPP。而第一个位置通常会搭配副词、形容词或名词。例如 award winning， 得奖的， never ending， 永不结束的， red painted， 被漆成红色的， computer generated， 电脑产生的等等。文章的最后一段提到 Fountain 出版了小说比利·林恩的中场战事，大受好评，而这部小说也被李安导演改编成电影。我们看到这一段最后一句的后半部分 Fountain has established himself as one of the most celebrated writers of his generation. 方登已经确立自己成为他那一代最著名的作家之一。Celebrated 在本句做形容词用，意思是有名的，就相当于 famous, well known, renowned, R-E-N-O-W-N-E-D, famed, F-A-M-E-D 等等。以上就是今天的课程，我们下次再会。
That's all for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. And please join us again next time when we talk about our featured novel, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Until then, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.